and one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring and become the Elden Lord.
Hello, hello. Welcome to a Lauren live stream, with, me at Starless Moss on YouTube. I wanted to just say, this is an NG Plus run, so there will be spoilers, there will be items specifically from from a first run through of the game. I am doing this on NG Plus specifically because that gives me access to item lore that I can then talk about. And so that would be why we started out with the Godslayer Greatsword and a ridiculous amount of armor. As we can see. But anyway, and keeping with the Halloween spooky theme, we are carrying the Mausoleum Knight shield. Definitely not because it's one of my favorite shields in the game. Nope, not that. I also realize that I might want to just turn up the voice lines for y'all. Because I am terrible at doing voices. So, let's start wandering around and getting all of that, hopefully, really interesting lore and other absolutely ridiculous, good old FromSoft's storytelling. Oh, and there is one thing I'm going to attempt for this stream, and that is I am going to attempt turning off the HUD, which should make for interesting gameplay in NG+, but also I've heard makes this look a lot nicer. If I can remember where the settings for that are. Maybe I'll just set it to auto. It still gives me the compass. If I turned it to off, yep, it shuts off the compass. Alright. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. Here's to some spooky travels. Though the path for be broken and uncertain, claim your place as Elden Lord. I'm sorry, Finger Maiden, who died for no reason. Alright. Chapel of Anticipation. How I have not missed you. But that view. I've missed that view. Now maybe the first time of me, trying the Grafted Scion, maybe? Now I'm just trying to remember the buttons. Jump. Run. Oh no, I forgot. Okay. Let me see if I can remember which flask is which. Yep, I did. Alright, I have the right flasks on. That didn't seem good. Well, we managed the second toughest boss in the game, the first being Soldier of God, Rick. The Grafted Scions with Marika's new lore is actually very unnerving, considering they may be related to Godric as one of the theories, and as a result, grafting being something the shamans did. I love that you find nascent butterflies here. Now I'm gonna have to try to not get distracted. The whole interesting thing about the shamans, the Jar Saints, and grafting. Now that we've beaten that guy... It's interesting if you beat them and you're actually supposed to die at that location.
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on her side. We found her here after all. One of her kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. Even if it does violate the Golden Order.
I forgot how much falling there was at the beginning of this game, although I guess that makes sense. Stranded Graveyard. Cave of Knowledge lies below. Hello, tree. Alright, in the interest of not waiting any longer, we won't go face the toughest boss in FromSoft history right this second. Soldier of Godric, we will have to cross paths later. Other lovely things about NG+, you keep your map and locations, but lose all of your graces. So exploring a lot on your first playthrough through is good. Which is good because the map and also the lore tie-ins are extremely fun, especially with the new Land of Shadow, or Shadow of the Erdtree DLC, where they actually had that cloud prior, I think, prior to just the game, or prior to the game releasing there. Ah, there's a sight. I like seeing Limgrave.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we? Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring, hmm? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity. Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me, Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave.
That is interesting.
Grace's guidance will castle's
that
home of the decrepit demigod, Godric the Grafted.
Ah yes, grafting the scions, and also the interesting line in the Shadow of the Erdtree about shamans' flesh melding harmoniously with others. With the... I mean, I believe the game has a story. It's just a lot of times the story is something that you end up making of it because they give you what seems to be the pieces of... Oh, that's right. I love starting the game with torrent. I have never done NG+. How hard are you going to kick me in the face? I actually don't know how much damage that did. That's right. That was lucky. Oh, wow. That is amazing feeling to kill the tree sentinel first time after walking outside of the Insulum grave. I think that Elden Ring is a good example of, I guess, what I would generally see as cooperative storytelling. Meaning, technically, you are cooperating, which is a lot of times ascribed to tabletop games, but with video games is something where you make up a lot of the theories and the story around your characters, and FromSoft gives you just enough information to make your own assumptions about the history of the game and the lore, and that's why a lot of lore videos focus on theories rather than direct item descriptions.
You're a tarnished. I can see it. And I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods. I am of a nomadic people, selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer.
Another one of my... Oh, I probably won't use these, but why not? I like buying things from Kale.
Nice to do business.
People have, I forget exactly which YouTuber did it, but someone, the merchants, particularly Kale, actually did have a quest that was cut, and someone recreated it, and recreated it with, things from the game files. And I find that very interesting, that you can just take cut content like that, and amazing people who are much better at video editing than me and things like that can just make a game out of that. I don't need most of this, but that's fine. So, we're going to be doing some NPC quests, partially because spooky, but also partially because, again, it's tied in with a part of the lore in the story, and, I generally find NPCs more of an environmental storytelling element than just a text drop element, which is what a lot of the item descriptions are. Like,
I offer you an accord. Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree. Then it's settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect. Shall I turn your runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share them with me.
I always love this
Your
interaction.
thoughts.
Unfortunately, I can't level up right now, but thank you, Melina. Alright, so... since we're going to try to rush the DLC, and we're going to end up... maybe... talking about some more creepy elements, maybe talking about grafting, other Shadow of the Erd Tree things that link it back to the base game, and things like that. I guess we're just gonna try to go fight Margit. Why not? Oh, okay, that is a way to check what I have equipped. Let's... Oh, of course I would do that. So, while we're running up to Castle Stormville, this is definitely possibly one of the more haunted areas that just feels like a haunted house to me. But Stormville... I'm going to collect things out of habit, I suppose. Could you give me 2 seconds? I'm trying to do something. I would like to sit down. Thank you. Alright. And I suppose since I do want to help Rodriga, I will also do that.
Everyone's been grafted. Everyone who came with me. They crossed the sea for me. They fought for me. Only to have their arms taken. Their legs taken. Even their heads taken. Taken and stuck to the spider. Did you know? If you're grafted by the spider, you become a chrysalid. It's quite a lark when you think about it. You're all on your own, are you? And heading to Stormvale Castle? Enticed by the one in the white mask, I suppose. Oh, you've come to be one with the spider? Well, that makes us two peas in a pod. But I don't have your courage. It's scary, you know, having your arms cut off. Or legs. Or your head. I want to be like everyone else, but I'm just too scared. I'm nothing but a craven.
No, I believe that gives you good survival
I know.
instincts, Rodriga.
Can you take this little one along with you? The poor thing deserves someone braver than myself. And the spirits look rather fondly upon you. It'll be glad of your company, I think, the little un.
That's an interesting that nobody else calls Godric the spider, although with all the limbs, I suppose that makes sense. I would more call the grafted scions spiders. Also, we need to change this. Maybe we do puppers. I like puppers. For right now. Since we're in Stormvale. And it's good for crowds. Or almost in Stormvale, maybe, depending on how badly I do with Margit. What are you doing? The bounce on that is very funny. Okay, rude. There we go. Yeah, I've heard for New Game Plus you kind of run over the early game a little bit too fast, but...
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Erd Tree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Or so I hear. You can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormvale is a shard-bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring. If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring.
let's... No, I still want the hard tier in here, but we'll play around with this. Actually, I guess... Yeah. Let's try the deflecting hard tier since I'm using a shield. We'll see if I need this. Watch me get stomped on by Market. It's Rogier! I have to summon Rogier. Rogier's such a good guy. Alright. This is going to be nostalgic.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition.
Hello, Margaret.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins.
Oh boy. I don't know how much damage I've just taken, so... I always love this weapon art, and I missed badly. Oh shit, that's the first time I think I've had Rogier kill Margit.
I shall remember thee, tarnished, smouldering with thy meager flame. Cower in fear of the night. The hands of the fell omen shall brook thee no quarter.
Forgive me. I've been testing you to see whether or not grace truly does guide you, and whether you are fit to face the challenge that entails. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance. I can take you to the Round Table Hold, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace.
I suppose. At least to start things off.
Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
The theory that the Round Table Hold is in the Erd Tree, I think, is the closest one to what I believe to where it is, but... we are not going to talk to every single NPC here because we will do maybe NPC quests later. I guess I will talk to Gideon.
Oh, this is
Get this out of the way.
I can't remember the last time a new tarnished made their way to the round table. Very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here. You may let down your guard. Allow me a word of advice. As your senior, you are a mere visitor to the round table. Nothing more. A house guest. Yet to earn their keep. Remember your place, newcomer.
I have to not ramble about Gideon because there is nothing currently to say to the annoying old man. Let's see, what do I keep as far as, it is true you don't keep any of your merchant bell bearings, but you will keep all of your smithing stone and grave glovewort bell bearings. That's good to know. And more rune arcs. Sure, those are helpful. I guess I'm not talking ninja right now. Oh, as far as spooky stories go, let's meet our lovely resident goth. Hello, Fia.
Greetings, great champion called by grace. I am Fia. Circumstances have compelled my stay at the Round Table Hold. Great champion, would you allow me to hold you? But briefly, perhaps you might share with me some of your lively vigor and your stout-heartedness. Doing so will grant me the warmth of a champion, and you, I am sure, will bear a Baldakin's blessing. Do you think it vulgar, perhaps? Where I come from, it is a sacred act. Ah, my thanks, great champion.
Sure, I'm all up for hugs. That's fine. Everybody needs hugs these days.
You are very warm. What you felt light up inside you was a Baldakin's blessing. Though it is but a fleeting thing, I am afraid. Come back to me, should you require another. I will take you in my arms as often as you need.
Now, before we knock over all of Fia's books...
You're a new face.
Hello, Hugh.
It's all the same. Lay out your arms. Let's get smithing. I see you've noticed the chains. Nothing special. I'm a prisoner and these are my chains. I'm trapped by the hold. I'm dying, smithing for you fools. That's all there is to it. No, don't read too much into it. Well, no grudge against you. My being a prisoner is no fault of yours. Besides, I don't mind smithing. Despite my differences, the weapons get stronger all the same. Given time, technique never fails. Besides, it helps me forget the sheer terror of her.
I forget if it was ever specified whether Hugh was misbegotten or not. From the character model, it seems like he is. but it's interesting that he says the sheer terror of her. Most everyone at this point knows it's America, but in some of the game files it's also specified that the misbegotten are considered to be children of Radigan, which is another strange thing of wondering whether they were using alchemy to create other beings and not just specifically the demigods. There's a lot of parallels between Radigan and America and alchemy. Anyway, I need to get a move on because this has already gone on for quite a bit, and I was going to try to kick my way to the DLC, and I'm doing fairly poorly about that. Although a good chunk of this is also just seeing NPCs again and story within the game for... well, it's been a minute.
You there? Come over here, would you? You're tarnished, aren't you?
Oh no, Gostock.
I would advise against taking the main gate into the castle.
Would you?
It's tightly guarded by hardened old hands. Oh, try the opening right here. The guards don't know about it. You'll breach the castle undetected. Fair enough. You certainly don't have to trust me. Well, if you must go through the gates, I'll signal them to open. But of course, I'd advise against it. You, the guards, haven't. You'll slip. Of course, I understand. When you approach the gates, I'll signal them to open. It's only your neck on the line after all.
Yes, it is. And I am going to risk it doing the silly thing.
The gates! Open the gates!
Thank you. How about we don't do this right now, buddy? I always wondered if the locations of the Divine Towers had a specific reason. I have to say, it's one of the more interesting things I've been curious about. Like, the Divine Towers always seem to be in a circle around the Land of Shadow, which, looking at Marika's veil in her room and the veil over the Land of Shadow, that seems to be what they might be used for. But does that mean that they were initially used just to veil the Land of Shadow, or were they always used for the activation of the Great Runes? Anyway, let's go see if we can challenge the Spider Godric, which I always find it very amusing that they call him that. Well, Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, excuse me. Oh god. Not birds. Not birds. Not birds. Oh, I don't want to follow, did I? It's down here. Please tell me it's down here. Either that or I ran past it. Oh, well. Did I run past it? Ah. I think I did. Wait a second. Oh, I'm going to have to activate all. I don't have to activate all of it. I hope that's the thing in this, is you don't have to activate all the levers again. Normally the mechanics, usually the mechanics mirroring and enhancing gameplay is something I appreciate, but when it makes me do tedious tasks, it seems a little bit less interesting to me.
Be proud.
Oh. The fact that you don't die is in one hit is concerning to me. Why did they have to make the birds harder to kill? It's like they knew we hated the birds more. Which also is interesting that they Godric grafted parts of the birds specifically because there are some real life historical evidence of doing something such as that.
Well, who do we have here? Tarnished, are you? Clearly not one of Godric's lot. I am Nefeli Lu. Tarnished and warrior, like you. I'm here by decree of my father. How utterly repellent this is. This grafting of Godric's ill befits a lord. He's tainted the very winds. If you intend to challenge Godric, I ask you call upon me. The winds run foul with his deeds. I'm certain father would permit me aid the fight. Apologies. But I've idled. As fellow Tarnished, we must each follow our own guidance. Down whatever road takes us to the throne of Elden Lord.
Of course, Nefeli. I always trust you. There should be a grace up here, and I'm going to maybe regret rushing this, but we'll see. Now, I don't need you. Come back here, though. One day I'll figure out having extras. for now, since we're doing, or trying to do spooky things, I am going to attempt to get down to the basement so that we can see the horrible face underneath the castle. If I can actually do the platforming bit here, because I am bad at this. Yes, I am. Oh no. I hope platforming doesn't make this longer than I want it to. I just want to go see the creepy, horrible face underneath the castle. It's the whole reason we came here, is for spooky things. I'm not going to be good at this, am I? Well, I will say that technically, as far as I know, you don't have to summon any of the NPCs in the base game for the fighting, if I remember correctly, just to get the rest of their quest, but I do want to see Godwin's, I suppose it's probably a relic, because... Ah, there we go. Sacred relics were taken from our real-world religion, taken from even just dead bodies of saints and things like that, so it makes sense for Godwin to have had, I guess, parts of his body chopped up, and that Godric would end up with one. Makes plenty of sense. Since he specified in-game that he raided the castle before leaving. But for now, we're going to try to go find... the misshapen face under Stormvale. You stop that. Oh. I'm busy though. This is all assuming I'm actually headed the right way and not... Oh, that's going to bother me, but I refuse to deal with this. A light source might help. Ah, okay. This is the earlier room that I got already, yes? Yes, it is. So, first stop on the map, creepy... creepy basement, relic face, I suppose? If I can remember which way to go to get to the Stormvale Castle basement. Oh, this is not the normal way I would do this. I actually jumped down a different way. Yes, we are headed the right way. I know, because there's supposed to be a bunch of rats. There you are. I have to say, creepy rats in your basement, good spooky vibes, appreciated. Now we all know what's down there. Actually, I wonder, can I take this off, or... Since it takes forever to get runes at higher levels. Alright. Cowabunga. That's interesting with the corpses down here. Kind of like bugs. Ah, great. I did good job. First good job. Oh. Huh. Yeah, definitely gonna say, New Game Plus seems a lot easier early on in the game. This is not going to last. And we're at 7 flasks, which is not bad at all, but out of 12, that's still more than I would have liked to use. Ah, yes. Hello, Godwin. I've heard people say that the spikes around Stormvale are a different type and texture than the ones you can find here. Though I don't see... Oh, I probably didn't find Roger in the castle, which is why there is no bloodstain here yet. Ah, but I don't want to jump all the way down here again. Let's go talk to Roger. He likes spooky stories. We will tell him about the scary face down here. The parallels between actual churches in the real world taking reliquaries and other types of relics from the bodies of saints or other prominent religious figures is consistently I suppose, interesting to me, considering the, considering that this does happen in real life, and also that Godwin's cadaver surrogates are considered his seem to be similar to the I don't know exactly what to call it. Some type of maybe. Okay, if you're just gonna stand there. But taking and keeping body parts of a loved one, particularly hair, is fairly common practice in general. Oh, hello. Oh, that miss was sad. Another interesting wording is I believe there are other texts in the game that refer to scions of the Golden Bough, generally being related to Godwin. And the grafted scions, being related to Godric, I don't think would be terribly out of the question. I thought that that was the relatively accepted theory, but it's interesting to oh, is this? Nope, that's not the direction I want to go in. I was going to try to find Roger and also to try to find Rodriguez. Friend's letter memento. It's interesting that they do refer to it as a chrysalid, since that is something you would generally use to refer to, I don't know, a bug that has yet to turn into another, or its normal form. I wonder if you talk to don't talk to Rocher, if he will just... No, he probably will just end up dying. There are other ways to get to that side of the castle, but I forget most of them. So I guess we'll just do... Oh no, I forgot that I don't... I'm not gonna be able to see what spells I'm casting. Oh dear. Huh. I suppose we'll turn on the HUD for the bird run. Good job, me. That was... Oh. And I have 3 flasks left and haven't rested at a grace. Oh no. There we go. Oh, all right. Drop down so that way we don't attract any attention and accidentally get Rogier killed. Hello.
Ah, nice to meet you. The pleasure's mine. Roger's the name. A sorcerer, as you might have guessed. I'm looking for a little something here in the castle. When I'm not hot-footing it from the troops, that is. But enough about me. What are you doing here in Stormvale Castle? This place is bristling with tarnished hunters, you know. They sacrifice our kind for grafting. Not exactly a place I'd stroll into without a purpose in mind. I see. Here to challenge Godric and lay your hands upon a great rune, are you? You can see it then, I take it. The guidance of grace. Well, enjoy it while you can. I'm tarnished, like you. But unlike you, I've seen neither hide nor hair of this guidance for the longest time. Still, I won't forget how it felt when I first came here, to the lands between. I'm privy to a few magical battle arts. Would you care to learn one? As a fellow tarnished, once guided by grace, I'd love to help you out, if it please.
Alright. I always feel bad for what happens to Rogier later, but... Oh, alright. Let's first see if we can get that memento for... Roderica. If I can remember where to go. The crystalline memento from her troops is very interesting. Like I said, it's really strange that they call Godric the Spider here, but almost nowhere else. That could have been a writing thing in the game, or just... I'm unsure, just something that they left out a plot that they didn't continue. Don't mind me. I'm fine. Trust me. I'm not here causing any trouble. Doing this another time through, I honestly feel like I am just being some nightmarish little nuisance for all of these people. Good catch. Which would be fair, I suppose. The holes through Stormville are also so interesting. Like, I know a lot of people consider them to be cannon holes, but the fact that they have a lot of little, what looks like vines, the spiky thorns coming out of them, I doubt it. Or at least they could have been, and then something else grew in their place. Oh, hello. Also, I apologize if I missed chat. I ramble and get distracted very easily, because I am that kind of person, and I definitely had a route planned out to get all of these things done, and then just, you know, didn't do that. Okay, I'm very far from leveling up. I forgot. Does this still work? No, it does not. Huh, that's interesting. Well, alright, that's still a drop I didn't particularly want to have to deal with. It seems like I'm backtracking too far, but you do get to see the thorns. These thorns do not look like Deathroot. They don't have... Deathroot usually is darker and has little almost fly wings as the thorns. These look actually like just regular thorns, and I find that interesting because when you find the face of Godwin in the basement, you don't... They have their own regular Deathroot vines. They have the regular thorny vines that sprout out of his face, sort of like a beard. But for these, they don't. The rest of the vines in Stormvale, so... Also, I'm just going to have to go back here, because I'm fairly certain I have to go to the left side chamber to get to the area that has Rodriguez. No. The Chrysalid Memento, but... Nope, that's down towards the basement and way too far. Wait, so was it the Rampart Tower? This was not meant to get lost in... This stream was obviously not meant to get lost in Stormvale Castle immediately, but for some reason, despite the fact having played a few times, I absolutely, apparently, do not remember where I am supposed to go. The Banished Knights within are the, what's it, the Exile? I forget exactly what they were called. I think you get the Exiled Greaves. The Banished Knights are here, but they're not... They're not as these guys. Alright. Time for platforming, my least favorite game. Hello, bird that I absolutely hate dealing with. If I go down over here, does that give me another way? Down to the other floors? Because it doesn't look like I've been this way yet. Maybe. Oh, no, it gives me way back over here. Alright. Hello. Kalo and Cece, I appreciate you hopping in and saying hi. I am attempting to do some of the NPC quests as well as just generally talk about lore and theories and ramble a bit because I enjoy doing that and also don't get to do that often because I'm fairly bad at actually finishing any of the videos that I started for recordings. So any theories that anyone listening has that they would like to talk about, I fully appreciate new ideas because there's lots of things in Elden Ring that are left open to interpretation. I was not looking for that. I don't know that I'm supposed to be on this ledge either, but here we are, and there we go! And there we go. The death and revival mechanic is also very interesting because I do love that you are revived at the site of grace, and with the new DLC and the lore from that, seems to be implied that the grace might be just America's alone and not the greater will's. I'm glad you find it relaxing, Kalos. But I will do my best to keep it that way. And not start swearing every single time I die to birds or some other ridiculous mishap. As I get lost around Stormvale. Speaking of which, I really don't want to deal with those birds, but making this jump is an absolute pain. But I did it. I swear that's probably the first time I've made that jump. I wish there was more information about people, or Rodrika calling Godric the spider, but that probably may have just been her interpretation of grafting and what it was. With what we know about the shamans in America being a shaman, which, again, I feel like I said spoilers in chat, but there is a ton of spoilers here. I'm not, if it is your first playthrough, I do not mind if you just bail because I'm going to be rambling about a lot of, Oh, it's down here. I do not know if I will survive that drop. The Chrysalids memento is something I want to get for Rodrika. But I can make this fall, hopefully. I can make that fall. Rainbow Stones, thank you very much for telling me. You know what, we're just getting to swing. Chrysalids Memento, that is a piece. It's sad to think that all of those were Rodriguez's friends, and I hate thinking about it, so we're just gonna look the other way. So Chrysalids Memento is a brooch wrapped in red velvet. Memento left by the Chrysalids sacrificed for grafting. A brooch wrapped in red velvet, traces of blood are visible. Faintly visible spirits try to convey something, but their voices cannot be heard. Which is something curious because Rodrika becomes a spirit tuner, and the spirits can't convey any information to you, but they can convey information to Rodrika, which is something I am going to actually go give to her so that hopefully she will be in the round table hold later. But being a spirit tuner is also something interesting that I find, aside from with Halloween and talking to spirits being something fairly common, in our myths. In Elden Ring, faith in the ability to deal with spirits is more prominent in the DLC, I believe, but still.
It was a pleasure to see you. Oh, can you pass on a message for me? If you see the little chrysalids in Stormvale Castle, tell them I love them. And that, despite my craven heart, I'm sure I'll be joining their club soon enough. I'm finally getting the hang of this whole pain thing, you know. What's this? A keepsake? From my men? Oh, goodness me. I can't...
Oh, Rodrika, it's okay.
They all believed in me. They all thought I'd could make something of myself, me, who can't do anything. I think I'll head to the Round Table Hold. Perhaps I'll find my purpose there. I think I'll head to the
Yes, do not sacrifice to yourself to Godric. Godric is not worth that. Alright, now we're going to go see if we can find the bloodstain underneath the castle basement, because the basement is the first place you always want to go in a horror story. But Rodriga ending up as a spirit tuner and also being able to hear the spirits of her comrades through the memento is interesting, because it's the shamans in particular, I believe Newmen are also supposed to be spiritually attuned, although I don't think the Newmans as a character race and the shamans are necessarily immediately the same thing. So it's interesting that we don't know if Rodriga is Newman. There's nothing confirmed as far as I know. But Rodriga being able to hear spirits and becoming a spirit tuner, and later dialogue from Master Hugh saying that she reminds him of someone, makes me very curious. Ah, there's the red blood stain. Oh, poor Roger. I always find it strange that you can... I wonder how much they always want to blend in mechanics with story, and how mechanics tell a story within the game. Because mechanics and environmental storytelling, i.e. things you can find like this, are very interesting to me, because they can let you kind of infer things from their location. And by the objects around them, similar to the holes and the difference between the vines in Stormvale and the Deathblight vines from Godwin. Also, Kalos, congratulations for making it to the DLC. This is my third time playing through and my first time playing New Game Plus, so we're gonna see how well Godric goes on New Game Plus. And maybe I should have saved a lot of the rambling about grafting and the shamans for after Godric. But I get a little carried away with stories. Because some of his lines are fairly important for the inferences. But just keep in mind, I guess, going into this fight, what he says, and also the way he responds to the dragon, because I find that very interesting.
Mighty dragon. Thou'rt a true born heir. Lend me thy strength, O kindred. Deliver me unto greater heights. Well... A lowly tarnished. Playing as a lord. I command thee, kneel! I am the lord of all that is golden.
Oh, well, there goes that crit. Oh. Possibly one of the most ridiculous cutscenes I have seen in this game.
Truest of dragons. Lend me thy strength. Forefathers, one and all! Bear witness!
Oh, I forgot I have to heal. That is a thing that has to happen occasionally.
I am the lord of all that is golden. And one day, we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
Thank you, Nepheli. The other thing that I wanted to do, one of the reasons I actually did want to fight Godric was I wanted to get a good look at this dragon, because if you look at it, it looks like that not only does it have, it looks like it has feathers and fur. And it's not an ancient dragon. That we know from the DLC these drakes were most likely descended from Bale, but the feathers on it make it very interesting, and it seems like it might be, because if you look at some of the dragons in the Shadowlands, they also seem to have those feathers or tattered wings. I know the Ghost Flame dragons do. But it's something that I find increasingly interesting the more I've looked into DLC lore, that there are subtle variations that add and hint at the Crucible even in the base game that were not necessarily as clear once you once you like have the information, it changes the perspective a little bit.
What a pathetic excuse for a lord you were. Oh! This he got what he would tell you though. He had an...
Yeah, I don't want to hear about Godric too much, although I will take any, actually don't remember if I have that, but I'm not going to bother with it yet. Considering as he murdered all of Roderigo's friends, I'm not particularly happy with him. But that he is related to Godwyn, and thus also a descendant of Godfrey and Marika, as far as we know. And if you ascribe to the name theory, then Morgott, Moog, Mesmer, and Melania may not have been related to Godfrey at all, and may have been Radigan's children, especially now that it seems to be that Marika and Radigan have birthed the same person for a very long time. Especially from the trailer in the DLC where we see Marika having red hair. Now, I know that a lot of people have mentioned that there's a lighting thing, that her hair looks red, but even if it's a lighting thing due to surroundings, it seems they could have made her hair pure gold if they wanted to. To me, it seems a little bit too obvious. And I ascribe to the theory that Radigan, is that the new name for Radigan Marika? For Radigan to have been part of Marika at least since she became a god, whether he was before, is something I'm unsure about. We're going to want to pick up this in case we want to do a specific burn down the world ending. Hello, ghost in Stormvale next to the Shabriri Grape. Maiden, dear maiden, where are you? Please take my grapes. If you're like me and didn't read the description of the Shabriri grape that says yellowing, oozing eyeball of the infirm, the surface is shriveled and the inside is squishy, not unlike a large overly ripe grape. Give to the blind maiden to guide her to the distant light. You know, that does remind me. I forgot to go say hi to Irina. Oh no. If I want to do that ending... Getting to the DLC is going to be harder now that if I'm trying to do different endings, I now realize I am in fact a fool. I've done the DLC once already. That isn't to say, it's not to say I don't particularly worry about getting there. It's just... Good job on getting into Shadowkeep, Kalos. I saw that you said you beat the Golden Hippo, which for me was a fun fight, but not one of my favorites. Also... Oh! I'm glad that we took the D trail.
Yeah, you there?
Yes.
Stop
pretending you can't see me.
Huh. It's weird to find that in the middle of it.
Why won't anyone look me in the eye?
Oh.
Not that ugly, am I? Oh. What'd you go and do that for?
Buck.
Oh, yes. I remember. Some clod turned me into a tree. You were just breaking the spell, weren't you? Thank you. The name's Bok. I was pushed out of the cave. Told not to come back. Not ever. Then I ended up as a tree. Lucky you came along, really. Oh, what a shame. When they threw me out of the cave, they took everything I owned. And so this is all I have to express my thanks. I hope you can forgive me.
Oh, you don't need to give me anything, buddy.
Well, if you can afford to wait for a while, I could sneak back into the cave and bring back something of actual value. Then I'd be of some real use to you, I reckon. Right, but I'll need a moment. I'm frightened of them, so I have to gather myself. My knees start knocking, just thinking about that god-awful cave on the shore.
Buck, I would really rather just stay here and be fine. I really would like to do this without the HUD, but at the same time... It's just a lot easier to click through my spells. Nope. That's not actually what I meant to do. Please don't mind me. I am trying to remember how to get to the Weeping Peninsula because I need to go be a menace to someone else. It's interesting that the blade that you get specifically for the grafted greatsword, also has grafting and comes from a hero that was, I suppose, coming up against a larger-than-life opponent. We know Godfrey took Stormvale, but I don't know that he took... I don't know that he took the Weeping... Castle Morn in the Weeping Peninsula, but... I don't remember if that was specifically stated anywhere. Hello, excuse me, please. There we go. Eerie.
Hello? Is somebody there? Might I bend your ear for a moment, please? My name is Irina. I've escaped from Castle Morn to the south. The servants there have rebelled. I can't be sure what it is. My eyesight's been weak since birth, you see. But I swear I heard frightful howling from all over. My good father secreted me out the castle, but decided himself to stay. He says it's his duty. As commander. I fear for father's life.
The servants are full of wrath, filled with hatred for every one of us. They've since come for every one of the companions I escaped with. They haven't spared a soul. I fear it's no different at Castle Morn. Please, I implore you, would you mind taking a letter to my father? At the castle, my soul wishes that he escape, even if his honor should be the price. Please. I just want him to be safe. Thank you. Dearly. Then please, take this. Deliver it to my father, who remains in the castle, if you please.
The amount of blind or blindfolded NPCs in this game is also a lovely little allusion to, in a lot of folklore, the sight or being able to, or being blind was considered to be being able to see into the spirit world or being able to see ghosts is commonly linked with some type of blindness, sort of having a second sight. This is at least common in a lot of Celtic and Norse folklore that I have read. And I find it very interesting that I mean, there is the literal blind to the atrocities of the Golden Order and other things that happen with some of the NPCs, and then there is also the literal blindness that allows you to see other things that other people cannot. Great. I forgot about you. Right, well, I almost didn't turn fast enough. At least Castle Morn is smaller than Castle Stormvale. Something I missed about the Godric and Dragon conversation, when he says the dragon is a trueborn heir, this actually reminds me of the friendship between Godwyn and Fortisax. And to an extent makes me think that maybe Fortisax is aiding Godwyn not simply because not in the traveled into his dream and wanted to save his friend, but also in the literal, they've done this before, so he knows how to do this way. But that's a big what if. But that Godwyn and Fortisax were close companions is specifically stated in Fortisax's remembrance. And is something that I find very interesting, and I feel like close companion I don't remember if this is simply a... I guess lore for, or speculation for the want of speculation for the want of, oh yes, I hope that these two are partners, because of course I am that kind of fanfic reader, and let's be real, there are so many people who definitely love that trope. I simply find it interesting as to how close companions they were supposed to be. And that doesn't necessarily mean there had to be any, like, physical love between either of them, but it's an interesting dynamic either way, and you know, being called a true-born heir, I wonder what the... I just wonder at the wording and the implication.
There's a face I've not seen before. I'm Edgar, warden of this castle, as ordained by Lord Godric himself. But you can see how things have turned out. The menials have all rebelled. They gave me good service, or so I thought. But it seems it was all an act. Foul creatures, as it said, and true enough, they're foul inside and out. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but whatever you come here to do, I'm afraid Castle Morn won't hold much longer. Take this, by way of apology. I see. From Arena. Thank you. I'm in your debt, but I can't leave yet. Even if the castle should fall, as commander, I must remain to ensure the treasured Sword of Morn does not fall into the wrong hands.
The interesting thing about this is not the first time you're going to face a boss that... Yeah, the specific type of boss, I guess I should wait until I get there. I don't actually like fighting you. I really would rather not. But you're not going to give me a choice. Okay. This type of creature that holds the fabled Sword of Castle Morn is not the first time that one such creature has is holding a legendary weapon, and the later on weapon that you find is really curious and interesting. Also, paying attention to where you find items is another part of environmental storytelling, where I feel like a lot of people in Elden Ring like to attribute the lettering on an item to environmental storytelling, whereas that is just written storytelling. Like in Castle Morn, you see the depiction of a twin blade and a confessor. And it says the twin blade technique is a tradition of the confessors, who closely guard the secret of how they preserve the momentum of their attacks. Thus is the final strike of their onslaught all the more deadly. And confessor as a starting class seems close. It reminds me very much of the Crusaders in Arthurian myth and also other myths. I don't need to collect all of these items, but I just find it interesting that you would find something like that as well in Castle Morn specifically. Because Confessor as a guess job description, I'm not entirely sure what I would say about it exactly. I would expect something like that more to be found in, say, Volcano Manor with the Recusants and with Reichard's history. Okay, that was lucky. Other interesting things is finding things like the Stormhawk feathers more in specific areas. Particularly because they because of who the Stormhawks or because of who the creatures are. It shows that the people use the methods of, it's why merchants carry different things depending where they are. People in those areas use what is in their surroundings. That's another good example of environmental storytelling, I feel like, from the game. Another interesting thing being the jellyfish as spirits, because in a lot of folklore, the sea is tied to death. If I remember correctly, can you summon if you've talked to him? You can summon. Normally, I don't always summon. I actually don't summon for this fight. But Castellan Edgar. We'll summon Edgar for this fight. I think it also further endears you to the NPCs and shows you something about them depending on where you are, and who you can summon them to fight, like summoning Nepheli to fight Godfrey. There's the Leonine Misbegotten. Again, this is not the first time you find a Leonine Misbegotten with a legendary weapon. Also didn't realize that Edgar had spells. That is interesting. It's nice, you learn something new also about the NPCs when you summon them. He's carrying a casting seal, the Banished Halberd, and he uses Erdtree incantations. Yeah, I'm way too far away. Also, these gravestones with the holes in the top being consistent throughout the lands between and the Land of Shadow. But it's... you find the jellyfish usually before catacombs in some places, but in this case you find them before this, I guess, solitary little graveyard in the sea. It's another bit of environmental storytelling and also references to how the mysticism of the world works. To Edgar, because there doesn't seem to be any particularly good grace location near him. Also looted it narratively, or like gameplay enhancing narrative. The fact that you cannot save Irina, and a lot of the people that you try to help, it doesn't work. I feel like also tells you a bit. I mean, it tells you a lot about the world, but it also... it tells a lot about the type of story that they are trying to tell, that the, I guess, authors of the game are trying to tell. I also find it very interesting that the... I don't know whether that took the fall damage or not. What was that? References to specific characters are in specific areas. So, like, a lot of things referencing grafting and other things like that, that have to do with Godric are in and around Limgrave. And I will look at the crafted greatsword in a moment.
I'm in your debt for keeping the sword from those fallen creatures. I'm no longer bound by duty. Once I've rescued Irina, I will spend my remaining days with her. Thanks to you, I will be reunited with Irina and devote my remaining days to her. Irina has a gentle nature, though. I only hope it remains intact.
Oh boy. Sometimes it hurts helping NPCs. Oh, that was it. The grafted greatsword. The storied sword of Castlemorn, a revenger's weapon. It is burdened with oceans of anger and regret. One of the legendary armaments. A lone surviving champion from a country now vanished was so determined to continue fighting that he claimed the swords of an entire clan of warriors. It also remembers says it's a revenger's weapon, and the revenger's shack in Liurnia is also where you meet Edgar one last time because of something very specific that happens. If I can remember where to find Irina. Oh no, I remembered.
Irina, how could this be? My daughter deserved better. The fault lies with me. I chose duty over my daughter's safety. And that is how fate has answered. I'll find them. The foul wretches responsible for this. I'll hunt them down and exterminate every last one of them. Rest assured, Irina, it will be done.
And also interesting how some of the NPCs seem to end up with the curses of the items they are near. Considering the story behind the weapon and Edgar's later appearance. Now time to get myself to Liurnia as quickly as I can, because this has taken a lot longer than I wanted to, but I should have known when I was going through story and NPC dialogue that that would take me longer than I wanted. But there seems to be not a lot of people tying the base game to the DLC, or I don't know if this is just me, but it seems like sometimes base game lore is disregarded in favor of DLC lore. And technically all NPCs and any spoken dialogue are coming from I guess what you would call unreliable narrators. And probably is why the text dialogue on items is fairly vague. Simply because, well, the information is, from what I understand from FromSoft games, supposed to be true. But, at the same time, the only true dialogue seems to be from the trailers, and FromSoft seems to very meticulously cut the dialogue in certain spots in the trailer. So it feels like it kind of is trying to make you infer things, even if it might, whatever inferences you draw might not be what actually is real. Alright, Kalos, thank you very much for watching. I super appreciate the comments, and again, feel free to drop any fun lore or other tidbits that you find or think is relevant to anything in the playthrough. I hope to find people who would love to talk about lore and also tie the lore from the base game to the DLC, which I don't see a lot of people doing. There's a few things, but I feel like a lot of things were missed, or at the very least not questioned. So thanks for your time. But now we're going to just try to at least start off Irina's quest, because we'll see what ending we do this playthrough. Hello? I haven't decided on
Is
that yet.
There? My name is Hayata, and I'm journeying in search of the distant light. If I might be so bold as to ask, would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? My eyesight has been weak since birth, you see. I can't tell which way I'm supposed to go next. But when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel a distant light in the back of my eyes. It will lead me to my true duty as a finger maiden. Oh, many thanks to you. Now I can feel the distant light once more. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you.
Now that I know what those are, I feel very bad about this, but also, in-game, going through for the first time, you don't know what the Shabriri grapes are or who Shabriri is, so there's that. I don't know why I'm consistently picking these up, but I just can't not. Oh, another one of my favorite NPCs that I absolutely hate helping because of what happens.
Then, perhaps you could spare some runes. Believe it or not, I studied glintstone sorceries at the Academy of Rea Lucaria. For a small donation, I'd be happy to share my knowledge. Well, bless you, bless you. You're a true saint. My name is Topes. Presuming you're interested, I can teach you sorceries, as promised. Only, none of them are particularly great. Apologies, friend. I'm afraid my meager sorceries are no match for your generosity. Oh, right. I can tell you what I know about this place. That should help a bit. You've seen that structure to the north, towering over the water. That's the Academy of Rea Lucaria, where we study glintstone sorceries. Only its doors have been closed for quite some time now. After they declared they wouldn't interfere with the shattering, the Academy cast repelling seals on the east gate leading to the capital, and the south gate leading here. As you might have guessed, the seals are still active, making entry to the Academy impossible without a glintstone key. And so I'm stuck here. A fledgling sorcerer with little chance of acquiring a key. When they cast the seals, I'd just popped out. And now I'm uprooted from my place of learning. why not find yourself a glintstone key? Without one, you can't pass through the academy, and you'll never reach the Erdtree capital. And if you find an extra glintstone key, perhaps, once you've tied up all your loose ends, and I can be very patient, would you consider donating it to me? I know it. I'm a bluntstone. Nary a hint of talent for sorcery. But still, my place is at the academy.
There is a very interesting thing I found out later. Thops's Barrier, which is a spell you can get, apparently can repel some of Radahn's light attacks, which is amazing considering how many people seem to find Thops to be a dull-witted sorcerer when realistically it's just intelligence is not as simple as we think it is. But for now, we'll get into the Urnia. Other things that weren't really explored very well, I think probably deserve some time, is the tie between the Carrion royal family and the Land of Shadow, and how a lot of that is not explored, and it made me very unhappy that certain bosses in the DLC didn't have dialogue. But for now, I think it's probably about time that I sign off. And honestly, thank you very much. And I hope to see you next time I do a lore and live stream, and hopefully have a few more conversations about the lore of the base game and how that seems to tie in with some of the lore in the DLC. Thank you very much, and safe travels.